When we think of great military commanders, one name rises above all others: Napoleon Bonaparte. His legend has endured for over 2 centuries, captivating historians, strategists, and the public alike. Few figures in history have left such a profound mark on the art of war. For 2 decades, this ambitious Corsican upstart redrew the map of Europe with the point of his sword, toppling old empires and forging new alliances. His campaigns sent shockwaves across the continent, forever altering the balance of power. He transformed the French army into the formidable Grande Armée, a force that became the envy and terror of Europe. Napoleon perfected battlefield tactics, introduced innovative strategies, and inspired unmatched loyalty among his troops, who would follow him through hardship and glory alike. Napoleon's genius lay in his mastery of speed, surprise, and the psychology of war. He understood how to outthink and outmaneuver his opponents, often turning the tide of battle with a single bold move. His victories, Austerlitz, Jena Auerstedt, Wagram, became legends, often annihilating larger enemy forces and earning him a reputation as an invincible commander. He moved his army corps like chess pieces, luring enemies into traps and delivering crushing blows at the perfect moment, always staying one step ahead. This video will explore the secrets behind his success, the revolutionary army structure he created, his relentless use of speed and deception, the thunderous power of his artillery, and the fierce loyalty he inspired in his men. Let's march with the Grande Armée through its greatest triumphs and ultimate defeat, uncovering why Napoleon's legacy still dominates military history today. At the heart of Napoleon's extraordinary success was his revolutionary approach to building an army, one that would forever alter the face of warfare. Instead of relying on the old traditions of mercenary forces or conscripted peasants, Napoleon forged a new kind of weapon: an army of citizens, united by a powerful sense of national pride and the promise of glory. Unlike the armies of the past, his soldiers were motivated not just by duty, but by a deep loyalty to France and the ideals of the revolution. They marched with purpose, believing they were fighting for something greater than themselves. Napoleon's innovative corps system broke the massive army into smaller, self-sufficient units, each with its own infantry, cavalry, and artillery, commanded by his most trusted marshals. This structure allowed for rapid communication and independent action on the battlefield. The result was an army that was fast, flexible, and able to fight either independently or as a unified force, adapting to any challenge. French infantry could shift from fast-moving columns to devastating firing lines in moments, unleashing disciplined volleys that shattered enemy ranks. Their unmatched mobility let them outflank and outmaneuver slower, more rigid opponents, often deciding battles before they truly began. Napoleon's cavalry, from the swift and daring hussars to the heavily armored cuirassiers, delivered thunderous shock attacks at the most decisive moments, breaking enemy lines and sowing chaos. The Grande Armée was a perfectly balanced weapon, forged through innovation and discipline, and Napoleon wielded it with unmatched skill and vision. His military innovations made the French army the most formidable and feared force of its age, reshaping the map of Europe. This new weapon, the modern, motivated, and mobile army, would change the art of war forever. Napoleon believed the true strength of an army was not just its size, but mass multiplied by velocity, a force that could strike before the enemy was ready. His revolutionary corps system allowed the French army to advance along several roads at once, spreading out to cover more ground and keeping their opponents guessing. This approach confused enemy commanders, who struggled to predict where the main blow would fall, and enabled Napoleon's forces to move with unprecedented speed and flexibility. French troops foraged for supplies as they marched, living off the land and freeing themselves from the slow, cumbersome baggage trains that had hampered armies for centuries. Napoleon's signature maneuver was the grand envelopment, fixing the enemy in place with one corps, then swinging others around to cut off their retreat and surround them. This tactic required precise timing and coordination, but when executed well, it left the enemy with nowhere to run. Trapped and outmaneuvered, Napoleon's opponents were forced to fight on his terms, often leading to swift and decisive victories. The Ulm campaign of 1805 demonstrated this perfectly. Napoleon surrounded and captured an entire Austrian army without needing to fight a major battle, stunning Europe. His speed and the element of surprise left enemy forces reeling, often in disarray before the real fighting even began. The core system was the engine of Napoleon's victories, allowing independent action and rapid concentration of force at the decisive point. Napoleon's campaigns became models of operational brilliance, studied by military leaders for generations to come. In the end, it was marching, relentless, coordinated and swift, that won him empires, changing the art of war forever. Napoleon began as an artillery officer and never lost faith in the power of the cannon. He revolutionized artillery by massing guns into the Grand Battery, unleashing overwhelming fire at decisive moments. Instead of scattering cannons, he concentrated them to break enemy lines with terrifying force. The psychological and physical impact shattered enemy morale and formations. At Wagram in 1809, Napoleon's Grand Battery of over 100 cannons pounded the Austrians, opening the way for a decisive infantry assault. Artillery became the sledgehammer of his strategy. Napoleon's mastery of firepower set new standards for battlefield dominance. His use of artillery was as innovative as his tactics. Victory often began with the thunder of his guns. Austerlitz, fought in December 1805, is Napoleon's masterpiece. Outnumbered and deep in enemy territory, he feigned weakness, luring the Austrians and Russians into a trap. He abandoned the Pratzen Heights, tempting the Allies to attack his right flank. As they moved, they weakened their center, exactly as Napoleon planned. With perfect timing, he unleashed Marshal Soult's corps to seize the heights, splitting the Allied army. The French then crushed the trapped enemy, driving many onto frozen ponds that broke beneath them. The Allied army collapsed in chaos. Austerlitz was a total victory, strategy, deception, and timing in perfect harmony. Napoleon turned his enemy's plan against them. It remains one of the most decisive victories in military history. Napoleon's story ended at Waterloo, June 1815. Escaping exile, he rallied France for one last gamble, hoping to defeat the British under Wellington and the Prussians under Blücher before they could unite. Heavy rain delayed his attack, giving the Prussians time to regroup. Napoleon's assaults battered Wellington's lines, but the British held firm. Marshal Ney's massive cavalry charge failed against British infantry squares. As Prussian reinforcements arrived, Napoleon's position crumbled. In desperation, he sent in the Imperial Guard, his undefeated veterans, but even they were repulsed. The French army broke and fled. Napoleon's incredible career ended in the mud and smoke of Waterloo. The era of the was over. Napoleon's influence on warfare endures long after Waterloo. His tactics, speed, surprise, concentration of force became the foundation of modern military doctrine. The core system inspired today's combined arms divisions and brigades. Massed firepower, once delivered by the Grand Battery, now comes from artillery, airstrikes, or cyber attacks. Napoleon understood that morale and leadership were as vital as weapons. He inspired loyalty and belief, forging an unbreakable bond with his soldiers. The principles he championed remain vital on today's battlefields. Napoleon's shadow still looms large over the art of war.